No matter where you come from, no matter where you're going, here's a place where you can take comfort in the knowing that whether if you've come to stay a while or just passing through, this door is open to you. Come and let's be silent. Come and share a hug. Come, let's pray together. Come, love and be loved. From the blissed out to the turned out, from the pampered to the abused, this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white, gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew, this door is open to you. If there's some kind of trouble or pain you're going through, know that you are not alone and someone cares for you. As an individualization of divine point of view, this door is open to you. This door is open. This door right here, this door is open to you. Is open for you. This door is open to you. This door is open. I'm talking about this door. This door is open. I said this door is open to you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. The God in us recognizes the God in you. The God in you. Whether you're black or white or gay or straight, Christian, Buddhist or Jew.
Good morning. Welcome to another beautiful Sunday on this planet Earth. My name is Reverend Christy Korn. I am the Associate Minister here at Unity of the Blue Ridge, and it is always my honor to be here and in service, and I want to welcome each of you and welcome to the live streamers as well. We come together today to just recognize that divinity and relax into that infinity and be all that we can be in this now moment. So I'd like to open with a prayer. So I know that there is only one life. It is divine in nature. It is infinite intelligence, balance, harmony. It is wholeness. It is peace. It is love. And it is the very essence of who each of us is. We are that life in its fullest expression, spirit expressing itself fully and completely in and through and as and all around us. So I know we come here this day to relax into that awareness at a deeper level, to recognize our own divinity, to recognize that in one another, to live the love, to live the wholeness, to live the peace, to live the light, knowing that all is always well because Spirit is in the midst. So we open up, we allow it to be, we celebrate it, and so it is. Amen. So this is a wonderful opportunity for you to take a look at one another in the room, and then while you're doing that, please turn around and take notice to the camera in the back, because we have a virtual audience all around the world. And just a little namaste, we recognize the divinity in you, and these are your peeps. This is who you're in spiritual community with, and we are blessed. So thank you for being here. And I want to welcome any newcomers. If there's somebody here for the first time or first time in a long time that would like to be recognized, yay, welcome, welcome. From New York City. I was about to show my age because I was going to say, from New York City, it's Saturday Night Live. But welcome to our community. And anyone else that is here for the first time, our ushers are going to give you a blue card. Welcomes. I see fingers pointing. And if you'd like to complete that card and fill that out, there's a little red heart on there too. If you'd like to wear that, that helps us to recognize you and make a connection with you. So thank you for being here. And now we're going to bless our children. We've got Reverend Gabby and Reverend Barbara Ann. And any children that would like to go back and participate in the youth program, we actually have, today is storytelling, mentoring moments. No, we're not doing it? There aren't enough kids. All right, well, we have the opportunity for all of you to share your gifts and your skills with our children, and it's an opportunity for our kids and families to come together too to learn more. So we've got two on the burner. One is painting and one is storytelling. So we'll reschedule those, and thank you for that. And we're going to extend a blessing to our youth and their fearless, loving leaders. We love you. We bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divinity in you. All right, have fun. Thank you. And we have Cat Williams in the house. We have David Washington. We have our Unity Band. And they are going to share a song.
It would feel to be free. I wish I could break all the chains that are holding me. Oh yeah, I wish I could say all the things that I could say. Say them loud, say them clear for the whole round world to hear. Share all the love that's in my heart. Remove all the bars that keep us apart. Oh Lord, I wish I could know what it means to be me. Then you'd see and agree that every person should be free. I'd be starting anew. Oh well, I wish I could fly like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be 'cause I know, and I sing 'cause I know. Oh, when I sing 'cause I know how it feels to be
Wow. Right on. Yeah. Are we blessed or what? I wanted to share a few announcements. Directly after the service today, back in the community room, there will be a meeting for our welcome team. So if you've been looking for ways to be of service and would like to be a greeter at the door or ushers here at the door to the sanctuary, to the chapel, and that's something that's interest to you, or you'd like to learn more about it or find other ways to be of service in this community, there's a meeting at 11:45 back there. And Linda, can you raise your hand, please? And if you have any questions, please see Linda Jones. She is our volunteer sacred service coordinator. So please see her following, and you can join the others. It's an amazing team, a wonderful opportunity to represent unity of the Blue Ridge and to be of service as well, which always feeds our soul. So it's one. And snacks are provided. All right. I think I'm going. So another is that just want to remind you, in a couple of weeks, Reverend Darlene will be back from her sabbatical. Each of us has done a phenomenal job in keeping this community up, running, thriving. Yeah, shining its light. We have Reverend Dale Worley, who is Unity of Savannah, will be with us next weekend to share music and message. He's a beautiful, beautiful guy, so I'm looking forward to that experience as well. Today we have Meagen Gosiewski again, one of our very own, sharing her heart and soul. And then the biggest homecoming of all is our retreat, our homecoming retreat on October 7th through the 9th. So it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday night, there is a concert with our phenomenal band and Kat and Rhoda and Mary Kay Williams, and tickets are available online. So if you are interested in coming to that concert on Friday night, I highly recommend you get your tickets now. And then there are other workshops during the Friday and Saturday for you to participate in. We've got a lot of facilitators, a lot of really cool workshops being provided, and I have printed up a sheet that explains who the facilitators are, what the workshops are about, and you can register for those as well. If you have trouble registering for each of the workshops online, you can see me and I'll help you out with paper. And we'll make sure we reserve a space for you. But pre-registration is required because we need to know how many people are coming, who's going to be where, what area best accommodates what, and how many supplies we need for each of the workshops. So please do that, and we look forward to seeing you there for an amazing homecoming Unity of the Blue Ridge experience. So thank you for that. And today, I'm going to share a reading on forgiveness, and it's kind of going with the theme today of forgiveness, letting go, release. And you know, this time of year is my favorite, and there's a saying that says the leaves are about to show us how beautiful it is in letting go, and I love that. So I wanted to share a reading from the Daily Word on forgiveness. All of my mistakes are now forgiven. When I offer forgiveness to someone who has hurt me, I may be surprised that lingering feelings of resentment or anger continue to trouble me. I may wonder whether forgiveness is worthwhile, even if the one who hurt me is worthy of forgiveness. When this discomfort visits me, I say a prayer, quietly affirming, I bless, release, and forgive myself for unkind deeds or thoughts I have put forth. I bless, release, and forgive all others. I am blessed, released, and forgiven. I return to this prayer as often as I need to until the pain of resentment recedes. Just as the dawn comes before the longest nights, forgiveness brightens and lightens my heart until the memory of hurt fades completely and I am able to move forward. And from Psalm 130, but there is forgiveness with you so that you may be revered.
Here we all are, gathered together in this place. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What is our will? How do we know what's true and what's real? If we all know, sit here and pray. How do we know what's true and what's real? Because God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. What's going on in this world today? Where do we fit? What can we do to make a difference? What can we say? Where do we go? This way or that way? Well, if we all pray and truly believe and love one another and let the world see that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. Oh, we may not know life's road will lead, but it doesn't matter as long as we believe that God is the answer. God is the answer. God is the answer to whatever the question may be. Maybe.
Thank you. We're making beautiful music today. And now it is my absolute honor to once again introduce Meagen Gosiewski. She's just an amazing woman, has a lot of wisdom and truth to share, and you are in for a treat. So thank you, and thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Wait, let's see if we can get this right. There we go. Good morning. Okay. That was amazing, Kat. Thank you. Woo, I got choked up a little bit. Well, welcome everyone. I'm so grateful to be here again. So as you know, my name is Meagen Gosiewski, and I am happy to announce that the next time I'm standing up here, I will officially be Reverend Meagen Gosiewski. Thank you. I turned in my final coursework this week, or a couple weeks ago, and I had to do an internship through the church, and I got all that stuff taken care of, and I can't believe it. I started this journey in 2007. Now, I didn't go for 15 full years to study to be a minister. I'm not going to take that credit. I did take about a 12-year break, though, to be with my kids. They demanded a lot of attention. But I'm almost done. I'm just waiting for the official wink and a nod. So hopefully very soon I will get that, and I will be able to celebrate with you all. So I'm excited. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a journey. I will tell you, it's been a journey. But life is a journey, right? Life is a journey. It has ups and downs and all kinds of craziness. It's a roller coaster ride sometimes, but the idea is that we just don't quite go so high or so low. So as I'm thinking about that this week, the journey, just my life and just things that are going on in general, I couldn't help but not talk about kind of the elephant in the room, which is what is today, September the 11th. Yeah. 21 years ago today. Can you believe that? 21 years ago today. There is an entire generation of people that were born after that time and are now adults, are 21. They only know about 9/11 through textbooks, through school, through the internet, through kitchen table discussions. That is mind-blowing to me, that it was that long ago. But those of us who were alive, I know we can remember the moment that we woke up, more than likely. You remember the going to work that day or going to do whatever you were doing. You remember hearing the news. You remember exactly what you were doing. And your life changed from that moment forward. It's changed. It's just life. It's a journey. But we all experienced that day collective trauma. And that has to be acknowledged and spoken out loud. We all experienced that as a group of people, as citizens of the United States of America. We have collective trauma. We still have it. There are some people who still are working with that. It's okay. It's not bad nor good. It's just, it is. And we have to call it out and we have to recognize it. And I remember that morning. I can so vividly remember that morning. I lived in Chicago. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Chicago about 15 years. I was just actually up in the Chi, as they call it. I was just up in the Chi last weekend, and I was just watching the city and how much it's changed. And it's just such a very different place than I lived in 10 years ago. But on that morning, September the 11th, 2001, I can very vividly remember I had just graduated college, and I was in my late 20s at that point, and I thought the world was my oyster. And I was looking for a job, and I knew that I was going to find this job. I'd had a few interviews. I wanted to go into social work, mental health. I had been doing travel. I was a travel agent for a long time, and I saw the world, and I went to all these different countries and backpacked across Europe, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to teach some people some stuff because I know the world. And then, so I'm going down on the lake that morning, and I decided to ride my bike. It's September the 11th. The sun is shining so beautiful. And if you know anything about Chicago, you know that when there is a beautiful day, you get outside because there's not many of them. The weather was horrible when I was up there again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm back. So I rode my bike to work on the lakefront. I lived in a high-rise and I worked in a high-rise, and I decided to just ride my bike that day and experience the sun. And the lake was so calm. It was so beautiful. And I just remember thinking how blessed I was. And then I get to work, and it changed. It changed for all of us. About 8:30 that morning. I think it was 8:30 Chicago time. It would have been about 9:30 this time. And so that is where I realized as I was reflecting on that this past week, that is still where many of us have to talk about forgiveness. Now you may think, what does 9/11 and forgiveness have to do with each other? But I say they are so intertwined that we can't not talk about forgiveness. I don't know about you, but for a very long time, I was angry at the men who flew those airplanes. I was very upset. See, in my spiritual community in Chicago, I had a woman that was very dear to me, and her husband passed away. He had gone there on business, and he died in the towers. And I was so angry. And I was angry at Islam because I didn't understand it. And I was angry at my boss. And you may think, why was I mad at my boss? Well, we worked in a high-rise, as I mentioned before, and we were right on the lakefront. And we had these big, beautiful glass windows. It was in a Mies van der Rohe building. And if you know anything about Chicago architecture, he built all these buildings in the 1970s that are glass and steel. And they are quite the sight to behold, and they have amazing views. And so I looked out over the lakefront. Well, the morning of September the 11th, they told us specifically all buildings on the lakefront had to evacuate immediately. Now, you're talking hundreds of thousands of people in the streets of Chicago trying to figure out a way to get home. I rode my bike. I could ride home. But I ran into people that literally were walking to the suburbs. That's 15 or 20 miles that people were trying to figure out how to get to their loved ones. They wanted to check on people. We had no idea at that point. It was still early in the morning. Were there planes out there? Were they coming? What was happening? So I rode my bike home that day, and the next morning, my boss calls me and says, you got to come back to work. We got to get back to work. Every one of us in that building that day could not take our eyes off of the skyline and off of the lakefront because we had no idea, collective trauma. So I had to work to forgive my boss, who was just doing her job. She was just telling me I had to come back because she had been told we had to come back. Forgiveness. So it took me years, and I'm not lying to you, years, and I was so blessed at that time because I had just found New Thought. And I remember sitting in class, it was like the day before, or it was the day after. I was sitting in class, and my spiritual teacher at the time, her name was Reverend Joette Waters, and I still in my heart, Reverend Joette. She said, we have to forgive. And I remember thinking, I don't have to forgive anybody. I can be as mad as I want to be. And I held on to it for a long time. But I've worked on it, and I hope we are all working on it together. So let's talk about what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is a journey, right? I wish I could tell you that forgiveness was something you could check off your checklist. I don't know if you know about me. I love a checklist. I wake up every day and I have a checklist of things, and I like to go around and, okay, I got that done, and I forgave somebody, and now I can go grocery shopping, and then, it's all done, great. We know it's not quite that easy. Not quite that easy. The definition of forgiveness is to give up resentment against or stop wanting to punish someone for an offense or fault. Punish. Are we really punishing someone, or are we punishing ourselves if we don't let go? So all of the spiritual traditions have ways in which they encourage us to forgive. The Bible, specifically in Luke 6:37, says, judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Jesus also goes on to say we're supposed to forgive 70 times 7. And if you do that math, that's 490 times. That's a lot of forgiveness. That is something that I'm going to have to write that on my checklist a whole lot if I'm going to be doing some forgiveness. 490 times. And that's just for one. Now, no matter how many transgressions have you had against you in your life, we got to live this. It's not just a checklist thing. We have to live it. There's a movement of gratitude that we probably, gratitude has been so big here recently, and there's this recent Thursday, I don't know if you've heard Thankful Thursday, that's now popular. It used to be Throwback Thursday with all the terrible pictures from the 80s and 90s with big hair that we would put up. But now it's Thankful, and so I'm like, okay, so we're moving in the right direction, but we got to add forgiveness in there. We got to add forgiveness. Buddha talks about forgiveness as well. He said, when you forgive, you free yourself from anger and resentment. You also open yourself up to receiving more love, compassion, and understanding. So we all know that there are great spiritual teachings out there about this. And as I mentioned, Jesus says 70 times 7. So we know that that's there. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you know the analogy in mental health we talk about, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a therapist by trade, and so when in therapy and somebody's going through something and they're shedding an old skin, it's the onion. We talk about the onion. You know, there's multiple layers of an onion, and you're letting the onion go, and there's like a level of the onion that you're doing, and I just really don't like that, because when I think of the onion, I think of me sitting at the counter, and I'm always crying. I am so sensitive to onion, I always have tears. And forgiveness doesn't have to always be about tears. It can be so much more. So I like the artichoke. Have you heard the artichoke one? So, you know, the artichoke has the various levels, and you keep peeling back, and what do you get to when you get to the middle? Right. Isn't that so much better? I like that one better. So when I think of it, I think of forgiveness as getting to your heart. It's the artichoke. And that so aligns with what the Buddha and Jesus were teaching. When the Buddha specifically says you free yourself up for more love, compassion, and understanding. And where does that lie? It lies in the heart. So we're artichokes. Isn't that better than an onion? An artichoke, yeah. So another great spiritual teacher, I don't know if you all are familiar with Rumi. So Rumi helped me a lot to heal my relationship with Islam, because I didn't understand it and I wanted to understand it. I knew if I was going to start in the forgiveness process, I needed to understand that which was foreign to me. And that's why I was so attracted to New Thought, because we believe there are many paths to God. There's not just one. You have to choose the path that's right for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all. And in fact, today, as I was coming down this morning, you know how sometimes the universe or the divine or whatever you want to call it, God, I had a CD. There was a gentleman here, John Stringer, I think his name was. I wasn't here that weekend, but I was here that weekend, but I was in the back with the kids. Anyway, he had a CD, and I bought it, and I've been listening to that CD every time that I get a chance, and I thought I was clicking on the CD to put it in, and my husband had changed it out. And I don't know if you remember, but about 5 years ago maybe, Reverend Darlene did a talk on the 3 faces of God. And it was so perfectly aligned, because she talked about all the ways that we communicate with the divine. And it goes so much into realizing there are many paths to God. So as I'm listening to this, many paths to enlightenment, I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh yeah, I was supposed to hear this morning. So Rumi specifically, because Rumi is Muslim, he lived in the 13th century. If you don't know much about him, he lived in the 13th century. He was a mystic, and he was also a poet. He was to Islam as unity is to Christianity. We are the mystics of Christianity. We are the poets. We think very differently than traditional, what you would think fundamental Christianity might look like. And that was Rumi. And so the Sufis, if you've ever seen the twirling Sufis, oh my gosh, it is a sight to behold. They are so amazing. But Rumi specifically said, grace comes to forgive and then forgive again. Grace comes to forgive and then forgive again. Do you see the thread that's moving through all of these spiritual traditions? Jesus, 70 times 7, Buddha, keep forgiving, Rumi, you have to forgive and forgive. We have to live forgiveness. It's not a one-time thing. We have to live in it. We have to walk it. We have to breathe it. It is a way of life. Now, I know I've been telling you about the beautiful teachings of great spiritual traditions around the world. And I know we always say, oh yeah, I want to do that. But then there's science. Now, whenever and I'll speak for me, specifically for me, I'm like, oh yeah, Jesus did that, Buddha did that, yeah, I really want to try, but science tells me, and my ears perk up. Science is now in alignment. Of course we know this, science in alignment with spirituality. Johns Hopkins, the premier medical research center in this country, did a whole study on forgiveness. Now, when you start seeing things like that, it's written in paper, it's empirical research, our ears perk up, right? We always get a little like, oh, well, what does science have to say about it? And it's right in tune with what we've been told for thousands of years. Johns Hopkins says, studies have found that the act of forgiveness can reap huge rewards for your health, lowering the risk of heart attack, improving cholesterol levels and sleep. Who can't help with better sleep? Pain, blood pressure, and levels of anxiety, depression, and stress. The research points to an increase in the forgiveness health connection as you age. So the more we hold on, the more it affects us as we get older. If that's not a call to start working on forgiveness, I don't know what is. And I immediately started thinking about one of my aunts a long time ago, and we'll just say there was a dress that I was wearing that she didn't appreciate when I was much younger. And I remember her going, "You're going to wear that?" And I held on to that for so long. I'm like, I forgive you, Aunt Levy. I forgive you. I forgive you. I got to move on, because as I'm getting older, I don't want to carry Aunt Levy's voice in the back of my head telling me that I need to wear something more appropriate for a young lady. But it was the early 90s. It was a different time. So I want to put this into action. I want to give you an example of how I've seen this play out. Remember when I told you that I was looking for a job when I graduated college right around September the 11th? Well, I found that job. I'd actually been interviewing for it, and I had interviewed the week before September the 11th, and then, of course, everything just kind of stopped for a little bit. But I ended up getting this job, and it was at a place called the Cara Collective. Now, if you know anything about Chicago, again, there's a huge Irish population. So the gentleman that created this was Irish, and Cara is a Gaelic word for friend. So I decided, me being this young whippersnapper, I'm going to come in and I'm going to teach, and I'm going to show all these people how to get these, to make their lives better. And what we did is we helped people get jobs. And then we helped them get the resources they need to sustain employment. Oftentimes, they were in recovery. There was a lot going on, right? So it was definitely a very different world than I'd ever worked in before. And this was the late 90s, early 2000s. So I was really brand new. And again, I thought I was going to be doing a lot of help. And I didn't realize that I was there to learn. I just had to be a sponge, because most of the individuals we worked with were minorities. We worked with a lot of people in recovery. We worked with a lot of African American, Latino immigrants, LGBTQ, you name it, we had it in our program. And so me coming into this, it opened me up to so many different things. And I remember one time a friend of mine told me, "You see the face of God every day when you go to work." And I thought, yeah, but sometimes God cries. Sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy. But it was beautiful. And this one woman, I'm going to call her Sandra so I don't have to give away too much of her information, but Sandra was in her early 60s at that point. So you're talking now about 20-something years ago. She was in her early 60s, and she had a very stable middle life existence. She was married, or had been married, and her husband and her lived in a suburb. They had a nice middle class home. Everything was fine. They lived in a decent neighborhood, or decent suburb of the city. Everything seemed to be going well for her. She had never been able to have children, but her husband told her when she was I think she said at that point she was in her 30s and she had been not working, staying home because he had a good job, he made good money. She said he's told her just stay home and, take care of things at home. So she did. They get into their early 60s and they're already thinking of retirement and what they're going to do. And they had a plan for their future, or she thought they had a plan. One night she goes to bed and she wakes up the next morning and her husband isn't in the bed beside her. And he had taken his own life downstairs in the garage in their car. Now, Sandra had not worked in almost 30 years at that point. She tried to keep it together, but she realized she was not quite as aware of what was going on. You see, if you have life insurance and the person that you have life insurance on takes their own life, you don't get money for that. So all of a sudden, her life starts unraveling. She's pawning things like her china and clothes and her car to keep a roof over her head. Her home was not paid off. This woman lost everything. She had nothing. And at the point I met her, she had just come in. It was negative 10 degrees in that morning. And those of us who rode public transit would go and stand in negative 10 degrees in big coats. Those of you from Chicago, I know Acela, I know you know. You have that big coat and you just like, please bus, where's that bus? Where's that bus, please? It is so cold. So she was here. She was at the program with us. And she was just sunshine and roses. And I remember thinking, I knew her story. How in the world was she so happy? How was she okay? She lost everything, and now she's living in a homeless shelter, which she had to be out by 7 a.m. in the morning. The homeless shelter closed the doors at 7 because it was in a church basement. So she had to be out. She had to quickly eat some breakfast, get her stuff, and take her bags with her because they were not allowed to keep anything there. So everything she had, she was carrying with her on the bus. And she got there, and she was happy. And I remember one day I came in and I said, how in the world, she and I were working privately trying to get her resume up to date. I said, how are you so happy? I don't understand. Here I am thinking, I know everything. I've seen the world. I'm 29 years old. I got this. How are you? And she looked at me and she said, I forgive every day, Meagen. Every day. She said, it took me so long to forgive myself that I didn't see the signs that my husband took his own life. It took me so long to forgive myself that I didn't realize we were in such financial turmoil. I lived with my head in the clouds, and I've had to forgive myself. I've had to forgive my husband. I've had to forgive society because they look at me and they see an older woman who can't work. Now remember, this is 20-something years ago. She was having a really hard time finding employment, and that was my whole job, was to get her a job. She found it. Eventually. It took her a while, but she found it. And the last I saw her was she had come in and she had been working at the job for a little bit. And we had this, every morning we had like a morning huddle. We called it motivations, where we would all get in, all of the staff, the participants, everybody together, and we'd get in and we'd sing and we would chant and we would do all these things just to pump ourselves up for the day. And she came in and she sang, I don't know if you remember Ethel Merman. Everything's coming up roses. That was my Beth Ethel Merman. You don't want to hear me sing the rest of that. Anyway, she sang that song and she was so happy. But the happiness that she had after finding a job was the same happiness she had when she had all of her bags with her every day. And that's the power of forgiveness. We have to walk it. We have to live it. I've talked a bit about, and my studies with the Caro tribe in the Andes. And they are a group of indigenous peoples that live in the high Andes just outside of Cusco. And they have a practice of releasing energy that is no longer needed. And we do the same here in Unity, where we make space for the gifts from the universe or the divine. We have to clear space so that we can receive. And if we don't do that, how can we receive? And that's where forgiveness comes comes in. But the Karo specifically have, and if you were in the class that I did a few weeks ago, you learned they have specific ways to clear out what they call hucha, which is that dark energy. Now, the thing with the Karo is they don't see it as good or bad. Just because you're in tune with the divine and you're dancing in the light is not any worse than someone who is holding on. It just is what it is, but we don't want to be too high and we don't want to be too low. So the idea is that we release that hucha, which is the exact same thing we talk about when we talk about releasing and making space in New Thought. It's the exact same thing, and I love to see all the mystical traditions over the world. So if you are ready to release, we're going to do something here. Okay. I'm calling you to action. So let me say we're going to try this. Maybe. Okay. I'm challenging you all to a 40-day forgiveness period, okay? So a 40-day forgiveness challenge. We'll call it a challenge. For the next 40 days, I want, if you feel ready, I want to encourage you to start working and walking in forgiveness for 40 days. So that will end, I've already counted it out. It's October the 21st. If you are like me and you're like, I need a date of when this will end, it's October the 21st. The idea is that you work on forgiveness every day for the next 40 days. Now, why 40? Well, 40 is a very mystical number. It means completion. You see it a lot in the Bible with Jesus in the wilderness for 40 days. The Jews were wandering in the wilderness for 40 years. It's that. Once you have done a 40-day challenge, you have completed, and the idea is that it will stay with you. Now, the Forgiveness Friday that was up here is a Facebook page. So if you are on Facebook, I would encourage you to come to the Facebook page that I've created. And on Friday, hashtag Forgiveness Friday, for those of you who use social media, you come onto the page and you see there's another one. Somebody else stole my idea. But you see the angel here? That's the angel in our labyrinth. So that'll cue you in that is the one that you're looking for. And if you come on there on Friday, the idea is that we will collectively, as a spiritual community, and I'm inviting it open to anyone if you're watching here as well. This can happen, next week or 2 years from now, that you commit yourself to it and you come on the page every Friday and we celebrate what we have forgiven. Now, you don't have to say, I'm working on forgiving my nasty neighbor across the street. You don't have to do that. You can just say, I'm working on forgiveness for someone who has done something or whatever it may be. You don't have to give specific names. You don't have to give any identifying details. But the idea is that we are going to celebrate each other on Facebook every Friday. Now, why hashtag Forgiveness Friday? I don't know if you remember, I talked a little bit about the hashtag Thankful Thursday. It's the same thing. I think a movement can start right out of the spiritual community where we can start working on forgiveness, being grateful and forgiving, and those two go hand in hand. And if we can do that, who knows what we can start? I think it could be awesome. And a movement. I say let's start a movement right here out of Unity of the Blue Ridge. So. Okay, so you'll need some growth, you'll need some motivation, and that's what we'll be here doing with each other on the Facebook page every Friday. And you don't have to wait till Friday. If you feel moved and you're like, oh my goodness, I finally let it go and it's Monday afternoon, then do it. But the reason I chose Friday is because Forgiveness Friday, they go together. But most people are really happy on a Friday. It's easy to forgive on a Friday. So I got to motivate people the best way I can, right? So, 40 days. Are you going to join me? Yes, good. I'm excited. Good. Okay, we're going to do it together. I'll be checking in on the page. If I get 15 likes on the page, I can literally, they won't let, or 25, I'm sorry, 25. I already have 10, and I just did it a few days ago. But I will be able to do facebook.com/Forgiveness Friday. They won't let you do that until you have so many likes. So if you can go on there and find it, I should be able to name it, and then it'll be easier to find, and you don't have to do the whole search thing. So, yeah. So Yes. Okay. So, yes. That is a very good question. Thank you, Linda. The question was, will I have an alternative? I have tried to think of an alternative, but when Reverend Darlene comes back, I might see if we can do something else. Because that's the only way I could think that most people are on Facebook. And then the other ones like Instagram, they don't really have anything like that you can do. So, but it's a good question, and I'm already thinking of the next step because I want to see this go further, and I'm even thinking of something else I can do with the community when Reverend Darlene's back. So I'll keep you posted. But for now, 40 days, and I think we're all just going to be so much lighter and so much happier. So, David, can I get that song? In closing, I chose a quote by Catherine Ponder. I don't know if some of you might know who Catherine Ponder is, but she has been a New Thought pioneer and has written many books, mostly about prosperity, but she also wrote about forgiveness. And if you have not checked out Catherine Ponder, I would highly encourage you to do so. She was a very enlightened being. But we're going to close out with a quote by her, and then we're going to move into meditation. So Catherine Ponder says, when you hold resentment toward another, you are bound to that person or condition by an emotional link that is stronger than steel. Forgiveness is the only way to dissolve that link and to get free. So let's take that within. So take a breath in, breathing in the divine light, divine radiance, and exhaling that which I no longer need, want, deserve. Bringing my thoughts and my center to my oneness with the all-encompassing unity of God. I'm so grateful in this moment right now, dear Spirit, that I'm with this beautiful family, my spiritual community here. Many of us today are going to be embarking on this journey of forgiveness. And all of these brave souls that are with me, who are ready to release, I pray that you are with them in each moment. Your love, your grace, your wisdom, your peace walks with each of us, that we breathe it, we know it, we feel it, and we understand it. For we seek divine oneness with you. We seek communion. We seek joy and creativity. And as we release all of that which we no longer need, we make room for more of you and your gifts. For that is our divine birthright. Our divine birthright is to be fully immersed in the beauty and prosperity in each moment. So I make room now for all of that and more. And I speak these words for each person here, that we all make room for that, so that we can lighten our load and dance in the light together. I am grateful. I am grateful for the gift of this family, the gift of this spiritual community that I call home, and for the gift of walking with you. For you are with me, I am you, and we are you. I release these words, knowing that they are so, that they are sent in love, and light. Amen, aho, and so it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Meagen. And looking forward to, because in my mind I'm already calling you Rev. So, yay, congratulations on that aspect of your journey as well. You are certainly a blessing to this community and the world. And thank you for the invitation to call us a little bit deeper and a little bit higher in this idea of Forgiveness Friday. I love that. A way for all of us to become engaged and aware. And this whole idea of letting go, that we may walk lighter. I love that. I love that. So thank you. Yeah, let's give her a round of thanks. And so I'd like to invite our prayer chaplain up and a board member. So Tom is our prayer chaplain. He's going to be bringing up the prayer box. And Sharon Oxendine is one of our board members, and she's carrying the blue box. And you'll see these blue boxes placed inside here in the chapel and out throughout our lobby. And this is our new way of receiving love offerings. So there's many opportunities, many ways that you can give to support this community and its continued ministry. And I want to just say thank you to all of you for your love offerings, for your presence, for your engagement in this community, your support. And for those of you virtually online that are a part of this community, your continued support as well. And so these blue boxes are available if you'd like to offer a love offering today in support of this ministry. And the prayer box is available for you. There are slips over there for you if you have a prayer request. It's held in confidence. It's confidential. Our ministerial team, our prayer chaplains, and our sacred prayer team will hold your prayers and requests in confidence and in healing prayer. And then it gets also sent to Silent Unity and is held in prayer there for 24/7 for 30 days. So this is how we support and uplift our community. And I always like to say you put the you in unity, so thank you for that. And Tom is also available for prayer following today's service just down the hallway. I believe it's the 1, 2, 3, third door on the right. He'll be available for prayer. So thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, community. Thank you, Meagen. Thank you, band. I'm just filled with gratitude. It's not even Thursday. I'm so thankful. Can't wait till Friday rolls around. Talk about, Forgiveness Friday, how freeing. I'm going to be playing with the F words all day. Kindly. Forgiveness Friday, freeing, fabulous, funny. Yeah, so thank you for that invitation. And we are going to have a final song. I release and I let go.
Wasn't that a great talk? Forgiveness. It's a hard one, isn't it? Now, those of you who know, I work law enforcement. And that's not in the handbook. But it needs to be. Because there was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. Whew. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was a hate. If you're discouraged, you're discouraged, you're discouraged, you're discouraged, you're discouraged. You gotta let it go. Let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is wide open. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. In my face I see the light. I am free. Yes, I'm only here for. Yes, I'm only here for. I said I'm only here for. Sing it with me. God.
Thank you, Cat Williams, and this amazing band. Boy, you are rocking the house today. So again, just a reminder, we've got, if you're interested in being part of our welcome team and engaging in sacred service, we have the meeting going on through this door or go down the hallway at the end of the hallway in our community room, directly following the service. And again, the invitation, thank you so much for Forgiveness Fridays and the 40 days of fasting from resentment and moving towards forgiveness. Welcome to my mind. So I hope you have a fabulous week, and we're going to close with a prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a fabulous week. We're going to close out Rockin' the House.